Hi everybody, Mark from Swift Pros Gear. Hope everybody's doing well. The Line 6 Helix firmware 2.8 has finally arrived. The spring release that came mid-July, kind of exactly on time for Summer NAMM. That might or might not have been a coincidence. Anyway, while everybody else is making their own Rev Red channel preset, I thought we might talk about speaker cabs. The stock Helix speaker cabs have taken quite a beating from day one. People either loved them or hated them, and there were probably quite a few more people in the hated them line than loved them. However, if you take advantage of all the little tricks that Line 6 has put in there, they're actually pretty good. So for today, here's 5 tips to get the most out of your Line 6 Helix cabs. Tip number 1, the type of mic matters tremendously in your placement and how you'll treat it in terms of getting the most out of your cab. For example, an SM57, a standard dynamic mic, can be shoved right up to the grill and it will sound great. In fact, that's done often in recording guitar. Whereas you take a condenser mic and do the same thing, it's not going to sound that good. Along with learning about the types of mics, so dynamic mics, ribbon mics, and condenser mics, take a few moments and look around for some famous combinations of mics that are used. Prime example, the Nashville sound is primarily derived from pairing a SM57 and a Royer 121. So you have a dynamic mic and a ribbon mic together. And you can do that in the Helix using 2 cabs. Put the SM57 on one and put the 121 on the other. Tip number 2, use your high cut and low cut effectively. Here's your rule of thumb for setting high and low cuts. Whatever that cab is, Google it. Find out what speaker is actually in that cab, and then look at the actual frequency response of that speaker. Okay? Here's a quick tip. Celestians, right? Almost any Celestian speaker, the frequency response is going to be 75K to 5K. So that gives you a very, very good starting point for your high and low cuts. But you can do that quickly and easily for any cab out there. Tip number 3, use early reflections. So what are early reflections? Well, quite simply, there will be reflections off of surfaces that will get picked up by that mic. Now, the closer the mic is to the actual cab, the lesser amount of early reflections there are, but they will still be there. So in the Helix speaker sims, you can add or not reflections. If you purchase an IR, those early reflections are already there. Okay? It's part of what we're used to hearing, and you need to have them. So if you were doing a dual mic setup with an SM57 1 inch away and then maybe a condenser mic 6 or 7 inches away, you'd want to put early reflections on both. You just want to put a little bit of them on the SM57 that's close, and maybe, 35-40% on the one that's 7 or 8 inches away. Tip number 4, vary your cabs. And by that I mean use more than one, right? Run stereo cabs, 1 pan left, 1 pan right, use different cabs. Run 3 cabs, 1 pan left, 1 pan right, and 1 right in the center. Use a different mic on each one of them. If you have a Helix LT, a Helix floor, a Helix rack, you have a lot of DSP to work with, and really the combinations are just up to what you can imagine. Tip number 5, simulate a room mic. What's a room mic? Well, quite simply, in a lot of studios, you'll have a mic or 2 that are close up, and then you might put a condenser mic 3, 4, 5 feet back. So the Helix allows you to go 12 inches back with a condenser mic or any other mic. That's not a true room mic, but it's close enough if you go back and look at our earlier tip about turning up the early reflections, right? The farther away from the speaker that the mic is, the more reflections or bouncing of sound off the walls that it's going to pick up. So let's take a quick look and quick listen to this in practice.
Okay, so here's the preset we're going to use. It's a Chromatico Bright. That doesn't really matter. What matters are our cabs. Here's our cabs, 2x12 interstate, and you will notice I put a 57 on here, no low high cuts, no early reflections. It is panned to the left. Here's our right. We have a 121, no low cut or high cut or early reflections. Quick listen to it. Okay, so I've done my research ahead of time. I know that both of these cabs have Celestians in them. So our low, remember, we have 75 to 5K hertz. I tend to like my low cuts a little bit even higher than that, so I'm going to go ahead and set it just over 100. There we go. I'll put my high cut a little over 5. And do the same thing for this one. There we go, 100. And boom. Okay, let's take a quick listen to what it sounds like now. All right, the harshness is gone, right? It's actually operating like it should with that speaker. Now, let's go on our next step and add in our early reflections. So our 57 is really close. We're just going to put a little bit in there, say 5-6%. And then we're at 2 inches with the ribbon, so we'll go, maybe 15, 17-ish%. And let's take a listen to it one more time. Okay, there's just a subtle difference in there, and again, it's that early reflection piece. Now, here's the part that's fun. Let's go ahead and add another cab. In this point in time, we will just put a cab. We'll pick, something we know that has more Celestians in it. We'll put another Bluebell in there. And we'll bring it down here, and it's just going to go boom to the multi-output in the center. And on this one, we are going to put a room mic. So we'll do, there we go. We'll do the 87, the old Neumann. Okay, we'll put it 12 inches away, set our high cut even a little bit higher. And again, we know that this cuts out right about 5K, and put lots and lots of early reflections in there. Okay, and now let's hear them all together.
So that's it for today. 5 quick tips to help you get the most out of your stock Helix cabs. If you enjoyed today's video, please like and subscribe. Check out my website, swiftbrosgear.com. And until next time, see ya.